Welcome to Fort Richardson. Woo-woo.
Yay! I love Fort Richardson.
Wow.
I dropped the phone.
Welcome to Fort Richardson.
Woo!
We're about to get out to go explore Fort Richardson.
No.
Pig hair.
Ooh, you want one of those?
Ew, no.
You know what they use for toothpaste? Charcoal from a campfire, mixed with baking soda and a little bit of mint.
Hey, that kind of sounds like what I'm using right now, though.
Yeah.
That's how you made your own toothpaste, is you mix those three together.
So this is the captain's house, and this is where they had some saddles to display. This is where like the captain lived, and yeah.
They'd have his family too. They would have the captain and his whole family.
Yeah, and this saddle right here is like what they used to ride. It's pretty cool.
I just thought that guy looked cool.
So over here is where they had like horses and stuff to like show off, and like the horses that they rode.
Ooh, tell them about this place.
Oh yeah, so this place is like the things that they I think hunted and ate.
Well, not necessarily.
Yeah,
this
but-
is at Fort Richardson, and
Yeah.
so they just have a lot of the natural wildlife around this area on display. So they have a lot of taxidermied animals, things that are
Like you would never normally see like outside. But they have a buffalo.
they built stick legs for it. He's taxidermied, so he was real one time.
It's a guy on a buffalo.
This is their little camp that they were doing, and in the background you can see some cannons. But this is their little tent and stuff, and their cannons.
It showed what life would have been like during, a Civil War encampment.
Yeah, but this bridge right here is the big bridge where their trains went on.
Evelyn was being weird. So this was cool. This was basically a traveling blacksmith.
Yeah, they would like. This is how they used to blacksmith stuff. It's actually pretty cool.
The guy actually explains it here in a minute. He talks about how there was a lot of repairs that needed to be done on the field because this was so rickety and bumping along all the time.
So basically what you've got here is a rolling blacksmith shop.
Very cool.
Everything we needed to maintain and keep horses well shod and metal. No springs on any of this stuff, so every time it rolls over on the field, it's banging and bagging, so you get a lot of cracks and a lot of the metal work, and that was all repaired in the field. And they would start with stock like this. They would make their own bolts, they'd make their own nails, they would actually manufacture the parts behind it.
So here he's trying to get a little fire stoked so they can do a demonstration of how they would work with these things.
Clear tube on the bottom, and you bank the fire. Coal gas will accumulate down there, and after a while, bang! Not bad, Lieutenant. How's it going?
See that thing right there that's going up and down? They're pumping like air into it to kind of get the fire started. So this part right here is kind of cool when they were marching.
Yeah, they had a guy come by and say that they were going to raise the colors, and so everybody had to stop and pay attention to the colors.
And they blew a trumpet.
Yeah, it's about to show it.
Hi.
Better get to my gun. We'll see you later. Alrighty.
I saw a cannon blow. Are they gonna fire?
Was that loud?
No, they're about to.
They're probably hitting that house down.
No,
My God. That sounds so cool.
there's a bird here.
Kind of cannon. It's towed behind 2 horses. You hook the howitzer up there to the limber right here, and it's pulled by a pair of horses. So, terrain gets too steep or rugged that you can't tow it with horses and the limber, you simply take the howitzer apart. Disassembly time is 1 minute. It is held together by 4 little pins. Pull the pins out, the wheels come off, the tube comes off the carriage, and you load it onto the back of mules or pack horses and take it wherever you need to go. You need ammunition. We have shell, and this is a big hollow projectile. You've got a fuse hole up here at the top. You insert a paper time fuse in there. When the cannon is fired, the fuse is lit. When it hits the center there, it takes this shell casing and rips it into about 20 of these shell fragments. So, pretty good, right? Artillery lieutenant named Henry Shrapnel invented this. He took shell, put a little bit of gunpowder right in the center of it, and filled the rest of the cavity up with 60 musket balls. So, when this round goes off, the shell casing shatters. You get about 20 of the shell fragments and 60 musket balls. So, very effective. Now, for close range targets, you have canister. This is a tin can filled with musket balls. Works just like a shotgun shell. Only this is a 4.62 inch shotgun barrel. So, yeah. Yes. So, and number 1 on the front left has a pole, and it is the sponge rammer. On one end of it is a wool sponge, which you use to swab the barrel. You dunk it in the water bucket up there in front of the tube, run it down the barrel. That kills any burning embers that are left in the tube from the previous round of firing. Once he's sponged it, he turns it around, uses the other end of it, which has a wooden mallet on it, and that's what you use to ram the round in. The left front is number 2. He is the loader. He will take the round of ammunition and load it into the muzzle, and then number 1 will ram it. Number 3 on the right rear has the lanyard. That is what you use to pull the trigger with on a cannon. It is a cord with a little hook on it and a wooden handle on it. That's how we fire cannons. Cannons today still use lanyards, just like they did back then. And number 4 on the left rear, he does a bunch of different things. He has a vent pick. It's about a 6-inch long spike. He runs it down through the vent. That's a small hole at the breech of the cannon. That's where the flame meets the gunpowder. He runs that down, punctures the powder bag to allow the flame from the friction primer to get in there. Friction primer is a little tube made out of copper or brass. It's about 1 inch long. It's filled with very fine gunpowder, and it has a twisted wire running off the side of it. When you pull out with the lanyard, you're basically striking a match up there in the top of the friction primer, shooting the flame straight down into the powder.
What'd you think, Wyatt?
That was cool when they shot it.
We're gonna come back and see it in a second.
So right here, this is like what families were like when they were like at the base.
On the fort, living with their soldier. It was mostly just
And then-
captains and
Yeah, but this doll right
higher
here,
ups.
oh, this is what their dolls used to look like.
All right, so here we're just showing a little bit more of the camp. We're gonna go further in, but right now you're just kind of seeing the tent setups and just kind of a general
That is
everyday life of
1861
soldiers.
Springfield musket. It is a rifled musket, and what you're looking at there is the most that is the deadliest weapon of the Civil War right there, is the shoulder-mounted musket. Over 90% of the casualties were caused by it, not by cannons, not by swords, not
Wow.
by guns. Named Alfred Minet came up with this, the mini ball, or like typical Americans, the mini ball rather than the Minet ball. It's hollow at the base, soft lead, is slightly smaller than the bore, so it can be hammered in quickly, and then when the powder goes off, it expands this base and grabs the rifle. So that's what a rifled musket is. It has the rifling, but it loads as fast as a musket.
I've also
So, it's not that long.
Oh wow.
That's how it looks, and what it does is it goes on the fin of the rifle.
Oh.
I'll show you what it looks like. It's pretty neat. They also use the bayonet for all sorts of things. It's like if, say you were cooking on a fire, right? You
Yeah.
had a fire going, and you had a pot that maybe had like a loop or like a handle on it.
Yeah.
You'd stick this thing in the end of it, pick it up out of the fire.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's actually really smart.
Why remember?
Yeah, so you could do that. You could use the end of this to pull stuff off the fire. You can also use it as a candlestick holder. Put this thing in the ground, put a candle in it. That's what a lot of guys use it for too.
But wouldn't it mess the metal up?
You have to clean it out though, because the candle wax would get inside it. You can ask him how that works out. You can't get the musket. You can't get this on top of the musket. Yeah. So most of the time, you use the musket when it's on the musket. That's what it'll look like on the musket.
That's cool.
Pretty cool looking, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But very rarely did they ever use these things.
Why did they not use it a lot?
They didn't use it very often. No, they didn't.
Is it because like they were like far away from each other, so they didn't really use it a lot?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they were pretty. They never really got. I mean, when they did get close, I'm sure they did use it, but for the most of the time, it was just kind of a tool that they used to kind of get through their days. They didn't really use it so much as a weapon per se. It was more of a tool that they would have different uses for.
Okay.
It's usually one of these. So this thing is painted cloth. It's waterproof, so it keeps the water out of it. They would have liners in them. They're buttoned in. You take a look and see. So on the inside of this, when you take the liner out, that's where you would put all your food. Like if you had an apple,
Yeah.
sweet potato, whatever you want to throw in there, you could put in there. then you would put it inside this bag. Now inside of this thing is where you would keep the more important stuff. So you'd have, once again, that housewife that you would bring from home that had all your sewing equipment on it, your bowl, your fork and your knife. These things that they would call poke sacks.
What do you do with the poke sacks?
Really anything in with it. So, for instance, like in this poke sack, inside this poke sack we have a deck of cards.
Oh.
So back then, they didn't put the numbers or anything on the cards. All they had were just the symbols. And that's what they would use those for. Yep, and then, so then you would put it in a poke sack, and then you put it back in your tabard. So you would have multiple poke sacks. So it wouldn't just be one. Like I only have the one on me currently, but I have other ones. The poke sacks, you could put food in them. You would give given rations. You'd put the food in the poke sacks as well. Sometimes you get poke sacks that big enough to put your silverware in. And all that stuff, you would make sure that you would put it inside this liner here, because all that food, over time, just like if you leave food out on a counter, it goes bad, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna go bad inside this bag. And back then they couldn't switch these things out. They couldn't switch these out to get a new one. So this is what keeps their utensils and stuff clean.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So this is just another close-up of the camp and what it looks like in the inside.
Shows kind of where they sleep, how they cooked, and like that guy was explaining, all of their poke sack details.
This, and it's got 10 rounds and then 12 musket caps and another paper tube up here. And this is hardtack. Flour and water and salt. That's all it is. Army bread. That's what they would eat. They'd fry their bacon, then they'd put this that's softened into the bacon grease and add a little brown sugar to it. Kind of mix that up. That would be kind of turned to a candy.
I was gonna say that doesn't sound too bad.
It's not too bad, really. You try it. Bullet is turned upside down. It's actually like this. So you'd put that in first, break it. Right. So. Right. They go in the gun, so you shoot it. That's right. You got it.
He's ready. Okay, this is where you might want to put your fingers in your ears if you don't like really loud noises. Number 1, fire! Number 2, fire! Number 3, fire! We will be doing this again in 1 hour. Come on back and you can hear all of it again.
So right here is a barrack, or you can call it like where the men sleep and stuff. But the guy in here will talk about it a little more.
An entire company. Knowing the new words, it would have been about 50 people.
Guys, this is where this.
This side of the barracks is your junior enlisted, your troopers, your corporals. Probably some of your sergeants would have been over here. Most of the barracks would have been these bunk beds. You would have slept 2 guys to a bunk. So 2 people on top, 2 people on the bottom. There may have been a couple of cots for your older sergeants, your more senior people. And then on the other side of that wall, as you walk around, you'll see the NCO barracks. That would have been your first sergeant, your quartermaster sergeant, the sergeants that had more company level duties instead of their platoon and trooper level duties.
Go listen, okay? You gotta do what he says. Listen, listen.
You're gonna fall in and order arms. So you're just gonna be on your foot and your right side. Sergeant, bring me a rifle. Bring me a rifle, Sergeant. Right foot. All right, this is order arms. This is how you fall in. We can't really march like this though, right? Our rifles. So we march at carry arms. Carry arms. Onto your right shoulder. Right up. Order arms.
So this was kind of fun because A lot of the kids were little and weren't really good at their right and left, and so having to watch them figure out which way to turn, which shoulder to put their gun on, it was fun though.
Right, turn 90 degrees to your right. There you go. Company. Left. Face. Oh, just 90 degrees. You should be facing me now. To wherever you want to face. I want you to. Not where you want to. Company. Right. Face. Left. Face. I know that was a little bit. Company. About. Face. Turn away from your right.
Right here, I got mixed up. This little.
Turn towards
It's
the
okay,
right.
it happens to us all.
Yeah.
The direction you're going to turn towards your right. Company. About. Face. There you go. Company. About. Face.
This way, Wyatt.
Alright. So this is a line of battle. Face. This is a column. As we march down the road, we follow this column. Company. Column left. Forward. Go left. Straight across the playground. Take a tree. Walk straight towards it.
She's in the front. And here we just sat for several minutes and watched everybody march. And
And then we're getting to the best part
what's the best part?
when we shoot you.
Yeah, it's coming. We had a little bit more marching to do. Watch the littles. Everybody has to line up. Poor Evie. She's so small.
She gets like left behind.
Run, Evie, run! There she goes. She gonna make it.
Oh, almost.
Company. Halt.
Almost.
Company. Ready. Fire. Bang. Company. Order. Ball. Like order arms.
Good job.
Company. Column left. Ball. Sergeant will take your rifle from you in a minute.
Good job, guys. Woo!
So right here, we're about to head to the hospital. The hospital was remade because of, I think, like damage and stuff because of how old it was.
Gotta take a few pit stops first, though.
Yeah.
Go check it out. Oh, I smell some coffee.
Have some peanuts.
Peanuts.
They're hyperallergenic. Yeah, fresh hot towels. Very, very refreshing.
I love
Unless you got makeup on.
I'm gonna play there. I'm gonna take my jacket off for that. I'm going in there.
Hey, leave your jacket on, crazy. Oh, it is warm in here. Wow.
How does this happen though? Dude, don't take it. Don't lean on this. You could make it fall. Well, look at this. It's cool.
This is cool. I want one of these.
Me too.
To the left. You're gonna bring it up and over your head.
Look at me.
See how my wrist is spinning? If you don't spin your wrist, what
happens is you bind it up around your arm or your head, like I just did. That's an example. So make sure you spin your wrist. See how that loop is spinning? That's going to make sure you have a nice big loop so that when you throw it,
All your way over here.
you get it right up.
Just like that.
Just like a cowboy or cowgirl. Right?
There you go.
That almost got it right.
Closer.
You almost got it.
That was a good throw, Bird.
Almost.
So roping is actually harder than it looks, which I used to actually know how to do, and I could not do it this day. Good, Bird.
Also, they actually do this Civil War reenactment every year. It's a big thing. Aww.
Here we finally made it to the hospital, and we went to the front porch first. They had some ladies with some
Sewing
looms. They were spinning yarn and then using the loom to make blankets, whatever they were doing at the time.
It looks like a fishing pole. You know those fishing poles? Mom?
It does, kind of. But yeah, right here she's showing the girls how they take the wool and spin it into the actual yarn. So it was actually really cool to see.
Yeah.
These are just the different rooms in the hospital.
Yeah, and I think that one right there is like the one for your like foot if you have a broken arm.
Oh, sitting on the table. But
Yeah.
against the wall they had all of the medicines and stuff.
This is where they would put all of their people who are injured and stuff like that.
Their little sick beds. Lovely toilet room.
Why would you call it lovely?
The kitchen area with the stoves where they prepared the meals.
I like that stuff. It looks cool.
That is really cool. I love old stoves like that. This room was just filled with a lot of things to read, a lot of historical things that happened or people.
Yeah. I think they would put their lead on that thing. That's what they would say. What do they do with the bodies in there?
They probably threw them in the fire.
Now there's no fire in there. What?
So there's a little back view of the hospital. Then these ruins that the kids were playing on, we weren't quite sure what they were, but we passed some people that had talked to the people that work here.
Yeah, and this is like a little prison.
It was where they would hold captured Indians, mostly, they said. They would have Native American prisoners held here.
So right here is where they hold like all of their bombs and stuff. stuff.
All the ammunition.
Yeah, ammunition. But they have these thick walls inside that can hold and make sure they don't explode while they're getting hit. See how thick that wall is right there?
Mommy,
About. So the wall is almost as thick as you are tall.
Yeah.
So I just started walking up this hill to get a better shot.
But this hill is actually where the old train track used to be.
Yep, it ran right across the top of this hill. So here we had to get the heck out of Dodge because they were shooting the cannons again. We had to move.
Yeah.
Cover your ears. Here we're just getting an up-close look at the cannons. They had just fired them, and we had about an hour to look around. Then we ran into some friends.
Yep.
So we had to stop and take a picture.
Of course.
So this little building was actually the first building that we came to when we drove up, but we visited it last. But it kind of has a lot more history about the grounds, about the fort. They got more artifacts. They've got a lot of stuff about the Native Americans in the area.
And they have Indian stuff. There's some arrowheads in that box that we just saw. And also they let you try out some clothes. I tried out some. The girls tried out some.
Yeah.
Here, this is how you load one of these. You shoot it. You're gonna get your gun pouch. That's a bag. Grip it, put it in. You get your bullet. It's on the tip. You get your hammer. You hit it on so we can get into it. You get your stick. Put it in. Cock it.
and it's ready to go.
Yeah. Thank you for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe.
And check out Fort Richardson next time you're in Jacksboro, Texas.
Yeah.